Alright, folks, welcome back. Another week, and Sheepdog Smokey here as always. This one, I really tried not to read too much on this, really tried not to get involved on this, but I've just seen so much coverage, biased coverage, from the liberal leaning news organizations that I can't get out of it. Donut Operator did an amazing breakdown of this, far better than I'm capable of, not but a day or two ago, and it's the whole defund the police 8 can't wait crap. Garcetti in LA, de Blasio in New York, others all across the country are already talking about pulling funding from police. Garcetti is pulling $150 million from the LAPD, which is the exact opposite of what needs to happen when there is an incident like happened in Minneapolis-St. Paul. You don't pull funding because then there's less training, there's less continuing education, there's less incentive for police departments to do anything but the bare minimum because they can't afford anything else. I've personally said that every city that has this happen should tell celebrities, concerts, the mayor, I'm sorry, we don't have enough manpower to put someone on security detail at that venue or for that person because we don't have the funding for it. They're not going to do that, of course, but they should. Once these celebrities are forced to accept that the very people they are adamantly against right now are the very people keeping them safe, their tune will change 180 degrees in seconds. It was a meme. I think Donut shared it on his video. Police are disbanded. Socialists hire private security. Everyone else demands private security. Socialists invent the police. The problem with that is that if that happens, it won't be police in the sense that we know them. It will be police run by liberal rules, saying that the liberal elite, that being the media, celebrities, and Democrats in power, receive all the protection, and you will just keep everyone else in line. There are others who, of course, are wrong, but they're saying that without police, we'll be back to the Wild West. The problem is the Wild West had police. And in those days, police were a lot less inclined to just slow things down. Bank robbers, shot on sight. Stagecoach robbers, shot. Tried to hijack a train, shot. There wasn't an absence of law. It was that the law was a lot more absolute. But that's not all that these people are screaming and yelling and demanding. There's a hashtag trending right now, 8 can't wait, and they're demanding 8 things. Ban chokeholds and strangleholds. Well, in most departments, already policy. I was a sheriff's detention officer 20 years ago. I found out that I am not the type of person that does well in law enforcement. I am a firefighter. Those are two different mindsets. It's the same as if you go into the food service industry, but you hate to cook, you end up as management or something else, or you quit. But the chokehold is not what was used. That man wasn't using a chokehold. He was kneeling on a man's neck. And honestly, that should have been something that had his fellow officers on scene physically pulling him off of anyone, but they didn't. But the issue is, and Newsom has already wrongly characterized this, a carotid chokehold. When you put someone into a chokehold or a headlock, there are 3 points you need to be aware of. The carotid arteries, which are in this area, and the trachea. A proper chokehold puts pressure right here, but not here. When you put pressure here, you deny blood flow to the brain. And in doing so, you cause unconsciousness. The second that person's unconscious, you let them go. Within a minute or less, they're conscious again. They've never been denied breathing. If you put pressure here, that is a stranglehold, which is already barred at virtually every police department. Everyone I know of, they don't allow a stranglehold. It is a carotid choke, which is to cause consciousness so that you can release them, cuff them, and get them into a position where they can't cause injury to anyone else. Require de-escalation. Again, great idea. So great that it's already a policy. No police officer anywhere shows up at every call, gun drawn, finger on the trigger, ready to shoot. It just doesn't happen. Okay, if it does, that's an officer that needs to be reprimanded, off the force, and a mark on their permanent record, never letting them be a law enforcement officer again. It's that simple. They carry a sidearm in case there are no other options. Require a warning before shooting. Freeze. Drop the gun. Put your hands on your head. All these things. No police officer just starts shooting unless they're already being shot at. If these people actually think, you need to stop shooting at me, I'm going to open fire in 3 seconds, don't shoot at me again, is something that should be done. These people need to be re-educated starting in kindergarten to learn logic. If you're being fired at, you don't warn someone you're going to defend your life. If someone is 10, 15 feet away from you and they're holding a knife, and you draw your weapon, it is freeze. Drop the weapon, lie on the ground. You're holding your weapon. That is a threat of force. It is not force. It is a threat of force. You have warned them. You have given them a lawful order to drop the weapon and lie on the ground. It's just common sense that these things are already required. Duty to intervene is the next one. Already required. The 3 people who were watching that officer kneel on a man's neck had a duty to intervene, to protect and serve. That's not to protect everyone except the person I'm arresting. You protect everyone, you serve everyone. You protect those you are arresting. There was no reason to kneel on a man's neck. There is never a reason to kneel on a man's neck. Those other 3 officers had a duty to intervene. They didn't. They are now being charged. Ban shooting at moving vehicles. I'm with Donut on this because if someone's in a 2,000-pound bullet heading at me or about to run other people over, you can't stop them normally. You have to come up with a harsher way to stop them. And sadly, sometimes the only way to do that is a bullet. It should be, as with any lethal force, the last thing on the list of possibilities, and lethal force is the final option. Establish a use of force continuum. Another amazing idea that's so amazing it's already in place. Use of force continuum is basically how you are allowed to escalate force. If someone is pacing back and forth, muttering to themselves, slinging their arms around, that's not a reason for lethal force. That's not a reason for less than lethal most of the time. Most of the time, you're going to engage them in conversation and try and talk them down. If they start becoming a threat to others, then that's where the use of force continuum or the escalation process comes into play. And police are well educated on this. If they violate it, they need to be reprimanded and educated on it again. And require all force be reported. Another amazing idea that's so amazing it's already in place. In the less than 12 months I worked as a detention officer for my county, well, my county at the time, I wrote more reports than I did in the last 4 semesters of college. Everything is a report. For crying out loud, I was on my way to work and I was rear-ended by someone who didn't know the red light meant stop. I got out, made sure everybody was okay, had everybody pull over into a parking lot so we're off the street. We exchanged insurance information and all this other stuff. I had spilled onto my uniform, so I went home, changed. While I was there, called my boss, explained what happened, said I'm on my way, I'm running late, but I was involved in a vehicle accident, not at fault. They called the city police that I was in and confirmed that I had called them, and they told me that they didn't need to come out, and so on and so forth. And then I had to write a report. I was at one point stationed on a pod, which is basically 2 large cells, 24 men apiece, and I noticed someone that I thought I was related to. I was allowed to call my father and get the very basic information of, was this person related to us? Not allowed to say anything else. Of course, my dad, being an intelligent person, realized what had happened. But then I had to write a report on that as well. I had someone who was not thinking and dropped a lit cigarette into the butt can, which started smoking. It was handled by get a cup of water and toss it in there, and then go stir it around until it's out, and then wait, nobody smoke for about an hour, let it dry out, and dump it. I had to write a report on that. I mean, the use of force reports, those are those are harsher regulations than what I had when I was a sheriff's officer. All of these things, all of these 8 can't wait demands are already in place. This would be like a company saying that our productivity is down, so we're going to require that you clock in on time and clock out on time and be at your desk doing your job. You know, that's pretty much what hiring someone is. You hire them to clock in on time, be at their desk or at their station doing their job for their entire shift, and clock out on time. None of the people who are talking about this care that all of these are redundant. This is more childish crap. I want my way and I want my name on it so I feel good about myself. And then when nothing changes because there's nothing to change, I get to say you're not doing what I told you. And when you prove all of what what that person demanded was already on the books, or already required, you're just being a meanie. You're a bigot. It's my policy. I'm honestly surprised no one has said wipe all of your policies away and then put them right back in place with my name on them so that I feel good about myself. But then again, this is coming from the people with the intelligence level to say anyone protesting their rights to go to church being stripped away should be forced to sign a waiver saying that they received no medical treatment, but then praising rioters. And yes, that's actually something that was done, and it was done by a liberal celebrity idiot named Pink, who at best is a mediocre vocalist. Auto-tune and the right videographer does amazing things when you got a girl who will dress in anything skimpy and sing on camera. None of them realize the hypocrisy of their statements. A month ago, 2 months ago, just stay home, it's safer. You're putting me in danger. Just stay home. Now, how dare you tell these people to stay home? They're protesting. It's their right. They're too ignorant and stupid and imbecilic to understand that the right to protest and the right to freedom of religion are in the same amendment. Of course, we also have people so moronic like Chris Cuomo to say, tell me where it says they have to be peaceful. The right to peaceably assemble and petition for redress of grievances. Literally, the word peaceably assemble is in the First Amendment. I could walk Cuomo into the Smithsonian and I could show him the word peaceably before the word assemble in the First Amendment, and he would tell me, well, that's not right. Somebody changed it. I guarantee, though, these idiots get into Cuomo's neighborhood, and Mr. Defund the police, they don't have to be peaceful, will be demanding police arrest, every single one. I don't know what it's going to take. And I really hope it doesn't take escalation to a point where you really can't stop without horrific consequences. But having watched the last couple of times, Ferguson and this, and having studied history as I have, I'm very scared that it's going to escalate to a point where there's no good way out for the people rioting. It's frightening, honestly, it is. Anyway, let me know what you think. As always, be civil. We don't have to agree. We can dissent, discuss, and debate until the cows come home, but be civil. Unlike Pink, Cuomo, and the rest of them, we are logical thinking adults. Let's be an object lesson to the morons screaming that riots are actual protest. As always, please like and share. That does affect the algorithm, and it helps widen the conversation. As well as make sure you subscribe so that you're part of the channel and the giveaway at 500, 1,000, and 1,500 subscribers. Until next time, have a wonderful day.